tell me, just in the break, everybody here told me you're voting. Some of you, it's the first time you're going to get to vote. Dominique, you're still undecided. What do you need to learn tonight? What do you need to hear that's going to give you an answer?
Oh, I'm just waiting to see how this debate's going to go. I'm for either one right now, so whoever persuades me more.
Who are your parents voting for?
No idea.
No idea, showing how important tonight's debate is, a defining moment, make or break, right here, 11 hours from now. You can watch it 9 p.m. on MSNBC, NBC. Our own Lester Holt will be moderating the debate, and we'll have post-debate coverage right here and all day long getting you ready, like my partner, Craig Melvin, right now, taking it away. Craig, here's a baton.
All right, Stephanie Rule, thank you. And good morning to you as well from Long Island's Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York. We're right here, as Stephanie just mentioned, in just 11 hours. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton facing off in what will likely be the most watched presidential debate in U.S. history. A record 100 million people could watch tonight, an audience that would rival the Super Bowl, and the stakes could not be any higher. Two new polls out this morning show the race is in a dead heat. A new Bloomberg poll shows Clinton and Trump are tied at 46% each. A new Quinnipiac poll shows Clinton is up by 1, but also within the margin of error. Tonight will be an epic clash between politics and personality. Trust and temperament will be key themes, with Clinton trying to prove she's honest, Trump trying to demonstrate he has a presidential disposition. The first presidential debate will also be Donald Trump's first ever one-on-one debate. Hillary Clinton has stood behind the debate podium some 39 times. Both sides have been working the refs, sounding the familiar media bias alarm, and worrying aloud that their candidate will be graded on a curve.
What we don't want to have is some sort of double standard where Donald Trump can get the most improved award, but Hillary Clinton, is getting judged on the fine points of policy.
I'm just surprised a campaign manager would try to lower expectations that dramatically for his own candidate.
Also here at Hofstra today, our NBC reporters who have logged many miles on the campaign trail. Katie Tur has been closely following the Trump campaign. Kristen Walker has been with the Clinton campaign. Katie, let us start with you. The big question, of course, continues to be, which Donald Trump do we get tonight? Any indication from the Trump campaign which Trump we'll see?
That is a big question, but the Trump campaign wants the more presidential Donald Trump to show up at this debate. They don't want the Donald Trump that got into petty arguments from the last debates. They don't want the Donald Trump that tweeted that they've invited Jennifer Flowers to the debate showing up. But the question is, which Donald Trump will Donald Trump want to be at the debate? And that is always the wild card. He often plays to a room. He plays to the crowd. There is an audience in these debates. He's used to hearing them roar. And that's when you hear him say some of his more outrageous statements. It's the first one-on-one debate, as you said, so he only has Hillary Clinton to go against, but they are gaming out that they believe that if he goes and insults her, if he tries to attack her, he's going to look small. So they're going to try and wait for her to do that and then do a counterattack. But there is often the question mark hanging over everybody's head is, can our candidate stay on message when we want him to?
I want to talk about that Jennifer Flowers stuff in just a moment because she's back in the debate. I want to turn to you, though, for a second. In terms of expectations, what are the Clinton camp folks, what are they saying about the expectations game tonight?
Well, first of all, I spoke with one of Secretary Clinton's top aides last night who said she's feeling really good. In terms of expectations, they're actually expecting Donald Trump to be more restrained, at least in the first part of the debate. That's going to be one of her challenges, to try to get under his skin. Well, because as the questions go on, the thinking is, could he become rattled? Could she rattle him? So that's part of the strategy. Look, she's been preparing in a very different way, I think, than Katie's been talking about Donald Trump preparing. She has been having mock debates late at night so she can kind of get her body clock ready. She has been facing off against one of her former top aides, Philippe Reines, who is former top aide at the State Department. Very tough. He's been throwing a lot of tough punches at her. Here's a little bit more of what her campaign manager, Robbie Mook, had to say. Take a listen.
We don't want Donald Trump's lies and distortions to be a distraction. We're hoping that those can get checked so that Hillary can focus her time on what she wants to do.
So, Craig, one of the challenges for Secretary Clinton is to lay out her policies in aspirational terms, according to her campaign officials, without coming off as too lawyerly and too scripted. I think that's when she runs the risk of losing the audience. As we know, Donald Trump, very good at TV, very good at the showmanship of all of this, and she's got to try to work on that part of her performance.
Jennifer Flowers back in the debate. How'd that happen?
So over the weekend, Mark Cuban tweeted that he was going to be in the front row of the debate, kind of needling Donald Trump, saying it's going to be the humbling at Hofstra. Donald Trump responded by saying, well, maybe I'll invite Jennifer Flowers. She accepting that invitation, but the campaign is now trying to say it's just a bunch of dirty tricks and that he was just trying to make a point. Take a listen to Kellyanne Conway.
They invited Mark Cuban, which is fine. That's the right to invite whoever they want. But then they tried to make it some kind of controversial invite.
Have you said, you know what? Don't go there. It's not your best look.
I won't discuss private conversations, but I will tell you that we were just putting the Clinton campaign on notice.
Well, did Donald Trump tweet out that invitation at the request of his campaign? Right. Probably not. Did he do it without his campaign knowing? Probably so. And that's why you see Kellyanne Conway often go and clean up his, what you could call messes on TV. We saw it when he was talking about how he was going to go on Dr. Oz and release his medical records. Kellyanne Conway going on TV and saying, of course, he's not going to release his medical records on a TV doctor. Then Donald Trump went out and did it anyways. And that is the real challenge with this candidate. You can tell him to do the right thing all you want, but oftentimes he just listens to his gut. There's a bee in front of your head, and that's why you're seeing us move. He just does what he wants, and he goes with his gut. He's now tied in the polls. He's feeling confident, and it's right now when he feels confident, that's when we see him make moves or missteps, if you want to call them, say things that come back to haunt him on the campaign trail.
This is going to be a fun one to watch, no doubt. Katie Turr, looking forward to the debrief tomorrow.
Indeed.
Kristen Walker as well. Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst, former RNC chairman Michael Steele, Democratic strategist Jamal Simmons. Good morning to both of you, gentlemen. Michael Steele, let me start with you, sir. Up to 100 million people could be watching this thing tonight. What will you be watching for specifically?
Well, let me just say right off the bat, I got my popcorn, baby, and I'm ready for a good one. I am ready for a good one. No, I'm going to be watching for, I'm going to be watching for stability. That's going to be an operative word for me tonight. Whether or not Donald Trump can actually stabilize the debate. In other words, not have it sort of whirl off in a direction it doesn't need to go. If he can stay focused on whatever degree of preparation he's had, if he can stay focused on that and disciplined on that at that point, at least at the beginning, I think there's an expectation that he's just going to come out of this thing and just going to go buck wild. I don't believe that's going to be the case at all. Stability for Hillary Clinton is going to be important as well, but in a different way. And it's going to be that stabilizing presence. She's sort of presented this. I'm the adult in the room. I'm the one who's best prepared to lead the nation. Well, she's got to stabilize that, at the same time getting people to feel that they can trust her to do that job, that they can trust her word, that they can trust her actions. So that's going to be important for both of these candidates, I think, for different reasons tonight, stabilizing the debate.
Michael, as we've been noting here, this will be the first time that Donald Trump has ever had a one-on-one debate. I mean, he's been on stage with more than a dozen other candidates, and then toward the end there, a handful of other candidates. How does that change the dynamic, and how much trouble is he going to be in if he has to speak for longer than 15 or 20 minutes, which is the most he's had to speak for so far?
Well, I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration in the sense that, the guy can walk and chew gum at the same time. So I think he can stand on the stage for 90 minutes and go toe-to-toe with Hillary Clinton. He's got several of the best in the business. Actually, the guy who wrote the book on this is sort of helping him, hone in on how he needs to have a stage presence on that stage. So I think that he's going to be okay. The question, though, is, if Hillary is able to get under his fingernails in some kind of way, if she's able to really get at him in a personal way, whether or not he will have the discipline in that moment to let it pass. And if he does, then how does Hillary Clinton react to that? That'll be interesting to watch for as well.
Jamal, it is her 39th debate, if you count the presidential debates, if you count the Senate debates as well. What will you be watching for?
You know, it might be her 39th debate overall, but it's her first debate against a Republican since she ran for the Senate the last time. So this has been a long time for her. So we'll see how she steps up. I think Hillary Clinton obviously is a very good debater in the campaign world. This is one of her events, but I wouldn't overestimate it. Donald Trump has got a lot of strengths here, so we got to hold him accountable for anything that he says tonight. With Clinton, what I think what she ought to do is plant her feet with the people who she wants to vote for her. This is the time for people who maybe are still trying to make a decision between her and Gary Johnson, some of those young millennial voters. Give them a reason to want her back. Give them a reason to have her in the fight. I think if she does that, she'll come out of this very well.
So it sounds like you think she needs to shore up what should be her base instead of using this as an opportunity to try and reach new voters?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that the campaign could have done better this year is to lock her base down very strongly earlier in the summer and then spend the fall expanding. She didn't quite do that. So now she's got to go back and particularly get some of those young millennials. So she should be talking about Black Lives Matter and police accountability. She should be talking about maybe putting a public option in the health care program. She should be talking about college debt-free college. Those kind of issues that those voters would really react to strongly.
What should she not be talking about tonight?
Well, I think anytime she doesn't have to talk about anything having to do with, emails or any of that would be good. I imagine there will be some sort of question that gets to that. So, but we know those problems for Hillary Clinton. Those are things that people have always known. The real question will be, what will Donald Trump do when he's president, if he gets to be president, and whether or not he even understands the Constitution. I'd love for somebody to ask him questions about what the rights are of American people in a free society, because it doesn't seem like he really supports whether it's, a free press. He wants to limit the free press. He has gone after all kinds of people when it comes to these questions of what the American people get to do. Religious freedom. These are all questions that Donald Trump needs to answer.
Yeah. Michael Steele, who's Trump's audience tonight? Is it that relatively a small handful of undecided voters who are still out there, or should he be speaking to his diehard core supporters who rallied behind that no-holds-barred approach?
I think tonight his audience is America. I think it's everybody. I think there will be moments where he will definitely appeal to his cohorts, if you will, those who are standing strong with him, just to reaffirm for them that he's in this fight for them. But I also think it's a bridge opportunity for Donald Trump to sort of shed some of the hot rhetoric that's been around his campaign, that's even come out of his own mouth, and to step into that presidential spotlight for a moment and just sort of have that conversation directly with the American people. There are folks out there who are still hurting in this economy. And while, yes, there are great numbers to talk about and there are jobs numbers that are strong and all of that, you still have a significant number of folks who are concerned and fearful about the direction of the country economically. And so he can speak to that, I think, in broad terms and let them know that he's the kind of president who will get those good things done that they want to turn around on the job market for themselves.
Craig, if I could just hop in for a
Michael
second.
Steele, really quickly,
I think Trump has been trying to prove that he's not as crazy as people maybe thought he was for most of this campaign, and he's done kind of a good job on that. Hillary Clinton's job is going to be to maybe poke that bear a little bit and get this Twitter thug that Donald Trump seems to be, where he's going to go out and really beat up on you on Twitter, but when you're face to face with him, he doesn't really stand up to you. She's got to find a way to get him to do something that's going to create a moment in that debate.
Jamal Simmons, Michael Steele, looking forward to the debrief tomorrow as well. Be well, gentlemen. Thank you for your time this morning.